Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, May 7th, 2020. I'm Keith Tebow, FRCmedia. Thank you for joining us this morning on what looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day in Fall River and in our region. It is a Thursday morning, and that has been sort of a standing invitation we have each week to check in with the mayor of the city of Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mr. Mayor, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Keith, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Let's talk about some good news, some celebration. Last night, the city celebrated citywide those healthcare workers working on the front lines. I know you were out at Charlton Memorial Hospital. Looked like it was a great turnout and obviously well-deserved for our healthcare workers.
Yeah, it was really special. A lot of people were in the hospital waving out through the windows, and there was a good representation of the fire, the police, and just the community in general. There was a nice group of people there. Everybody was clapping, ringing bells. One woman was beating on a frying pan. It was nice to see, and I know what happened in other areas of the city because I saw the postings on Facebook and people were outside. I think before this is over, we'll do it again, and hopefully we'll get a bigger crowd out.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you go to our FRCmedia Facebook page, we have a video done by our own Denise Pumagwaye of what was happening outside Charlton Memorial Hospital. So take a peek at that when you have a chance, those of you who are watching. This week, yesterday, actually, the governor's order for people to wear masks took effect. I know you have talked about it in the past, about people making sure that they're diligent. When you were out and about yesterday, are you seeing people being more diligent and taking part?
Yeah, I definitely. I saw the majority of people did have masks on. I went to get a sandwich on my lunch at Marzilli's, and one of my former students didn't have one, so I went in my trunk and I gave him one. And I said, "Now you can go inside." And that's what it is. Just, I think it's like I said, we have no interest in being heavy-handed with this. We're asking the public to comply with this. We want them to work with us. We don't want our police engaging with people. We don't want our inspectors. We want people to know that at this time, in these conditions, it's the right thing to do. If you can't abide by it, you got health issues or something else, okay, we understand that, but we're going to work with you. And I think as it's been through this whole crisis, 95 to 98% of the people just comply and are willing to work with you to make Fall River a safer place to live.
Yeah. And I want to thank you for taking part in our initiative at FRCmedia last week. It's only been a week. We created a special group called Masks of Fall River, where we're asking people to show their solidarity against COVID-19 by posting photos of themselves in masks. There have been some very creative people in the city of Fall River, and I want to thank those of you who have taken part. I think we're over 300 now in the group in less than a week. So those of you who haven't checked it out, check out Masks of Fall River. And Mayor, I want to thank you for your contribution to the group, and hopefully other people will check it out.
Yeah, we can have some fun even in these dark moments. So let's do what we can to stick together, and hopefully we're on the other side of the curve or we're on the top of the plateau and we can ride this out.
Yeah, I want to get to that now. The governor's stay-at-home order right now is expected to be lifted on May 18th. We still have a little over a week, so we don't know what will happen. It seems like cases in Fall River appear to be consistent in terms of the numbers, 20, 25 per day, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower. Has there been any, and this will probably be a question for next week when we get together, but have you heard anything from the governor's office at all about the plans to lift the order and what that would mean for Fall River?
No, not specifics. I did have a conversation yesterday with Lieutenant Governor Polito. We talked about a couple of areas that I think we could modify the order to make it fair for those employers and give our citizens a little bit of a break. I do not know what the final outcome is going to be. I think things are going to slowly start to ease up. I don't know until we get a vaccine if it'll ever be the way it was. But she didn't get into specifics with me. But she did say we do expect some movement on the 18th and prior to.
All right, so we'll look forward to hearing from the governor on that. Let me just ask you this. On the national level, those people that have been watching the COVID-19 pandemic nationally, we know that President Trump has given the governors the right to sort of regulate their states as they see fit. There's been some controversies around that, and we won't need to get into that at this point. But it appears that some states who are willing to not open as quickly are being allowed to do so. So sort of there's like a top down where there's a recommendation that comes down, and then the states are deciding what they want to do with the governors. Are there possibilities, and I'm not asking you whether you want to do this or not, but is there possibilities that a city like a Fall River or any other community in Massachusetts may be a little more hesitant to open if restrictions are lifted before even a local community may think it's ready to do so?
I don't think so. I think we'll try to stick with what the governor's been doing. He's making the rules for mostly all of us, and it's our job to implement them. I think that would be prudent. You would not want to be the mayor of a city that opened up some things. As I tell people every day, Fall River's numbers have been pretty consistent. We're actually in a pretty good spot when you look relative to other communities in Massachusetts our size. We're in an excellent spot. If we were the city that opened up or did something out of the norm, and we had a major pocket of explosion or positive cases, that wouldn't reflect well on any of us. And we want people to be on the same plane right to the end of this. And I think that's what we do. If there were some options I could do that I felt, would not endanger the public in any way, or would give people a little more flexibility, I would not be opposed to it. But let's see what he comes up with first.
All right, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this when we get together next week. A couple of other issues, non-COVID-19 related this week. You appointed Captain Jeffrey Cardoza as the next police chief of the city of Fall River. Talk about your rationale. Why is Captain Cardoza a great fit for being our next chief?
Captain Cardoza interviewed very well, both with myself and the panel. He had an extremely strong resume. Obviously, he's been with the Fall River Police Department for 27 years. He knows most of the ins and outs of the city. He graduated from Durfee, Bristol Community College. I think I was just told it was 29 years with the Fall River Police Department, but he presented very well. But that's not to diminish the other candidates one bit. We had two extremely strong candidates in addition to Captain Cardoza. They all impressed both the panel and myself in my conversations with them, and I believe that the Fall River people are served very well by our police department. I think Captain Cardoza will implement some changes that will take the department in a positive way. Obviously, everything we're doing in Fall River right now is working back from a time that I don't see as a positive time in the history of Fall River. And let's get this going. I think with the right team in place and all these positions, we can move Fall River in a very positive direction. We're working with our citizens, with our public safety people, and with all public employees, and of course, making sure the citizens know what we're doing. And I think that Captain Cardoza was the right pick at the right time.
And still needs approval by the city council. I believe they may be taking that up at their next meeting. I believe is on the 19th. So we'll have to see what the city council has to say about the appointment of chief designee Jeff Cardoza.
Right.
In terms of another personnel move, what's the status of the city administrator's position?
Well, it's kind of funny. We're in this crisis. Of course, I being selfish, I'd want more help, more people addressing some of the city's problems. But I'm just a little bit slow walking that right now because I'd like to fill it. I'd like to see who we can get for a person in there. It might be someone in the building. It might be someone outside of the building. But at the same time, the police chief is a very important public safety position. The city administrator is a very important city position that can help with the running of the city. I'm trying to prioritize these positions right now. And again, I think that the public, I have no clamor of people saying, what are you going to do about the city administrator? I did have people asking me about the police chief. So I guess I'm kind of thinking like they are. Police chief should be more important. We're not off the city administrator. Also, we're looking at the budget. Where do we end up here? What's going to happen? I know the state is losing revenue hand over fist. Fall River is waiting on the sidelines to get to July 1 to know what we're getting for local aid, what we're getting from the federal government, to see where we go. And I'm hoping that positions that are in the budget now will go forward, but let's see how this plays out.
Last week, in terms of the budget, we talked about how there may be some action from Boston in terms of delaying or having a 1/12th budget or a 1/6th budget for the city. By charter, you need to present your budget, I believe, by the 15th, which is the end of next week. Any updates on that and whether you'll be able to delay?
I think a bill came out of the Senate delaying it for 60 days. We're hoping for House approval this week. Obviously, we'll notify the city council. And as you said, I do, when we talk about the police chief, that's all contingent on the city council's approval. And again, same with the budget. We'll work with them on both of those key issues. They've been great. I have no complaints about my city council or the city of Fall River City Council, I should say. They do help. They help me a lot, and they help the city a lot. But we are looking to see if there's a way to delay it, to see what kind of numbers come in, so we have a better handle on it. And hey, it looks like this state feels the same way.
I know it's refreshing to speak about other issues other than COVID-19. And as we go along, maybe we'll be able to do more of general city issues to get the city back up and going and not talk about
maybe we won't
the
talk
negative
about it at all. Yeah, let's not.
Yeah,
talk
that
about
would
it
be
at all.
great, right?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Mayor Paul Coogan, thank you. I appreciate your time. We'll talk again next week. Have a great week.
Okay, Keith. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you to Mayor Paul Coogan for joining us with our weekly visit here at FRC Media. Again, we invite you to join our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest information. We conduct a number of these interviews throughout the week, and you can find all the interviews on our Facebook page as well as on our website, frmedia.org. So for all of us here at FRC Media, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will talk again soon.